right. Looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. What a day so far. We've had Hope Blankenship. We've had Dave Kirsting. Amazing job that they did. We had Eric Green. What an amazing day. So much information has passed from really great people. I want to take just a very quick minute because we have a very short time today to introduce Angela Roberts of Maine Accounting. I do want to say Angela Roberts, no relation to Richard Roppa-Roberts. Angela, you want to take a quick second and say hello?
Hello. Pardon my background. I'm in construction, so I'm a little blurred and I apologize. I tried to figure it out, but
It's okay.
Not too distracting for everyone. So Angela Roberts, I'm the founder and CEO of Maine Accounting Services. We are virtual and we are all over the country. We support law firms. We have 13 employees and we started in 2016. I've been with Richard and Roundtable Labs for probably 5-6 years and using Financial Sense for the last 3, I think. So happy to be here.
I am happy that you are here as well. And I just want to take a quick second to say I'm Richard Roppa-Roberts. I'm the founder of Roundtable Labs, and I'm a huge supporter of Financial Sense and what it does. So very excited that they asked us to speak today. Today, we're going to be speaking about how to create a collaborative work culture that drives efficiency. And there's no one better in this world to talk about that than Angela. As she has seen her growth over the years, she has really built a collaborative work culture. And you've probably, and Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, you've probably hit all the mistakes that a human could make when you were building out that culture.
Of course.
I know. So let's jump right in on what collaboration means to you and to your firm. So let's start with transparency. Transparency about the state of the business, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a couple of different schools of thought to this. Some people like to keep their financials tight and they don't share it, or their plans for the future and they don't share it. And, you know, I'm just as nervous about my finances as anybody else is, or can we really achieve the goals? And a couple of years ago, I just said, you know what, this is a team and we're going to share it. And we do every November a state of the business address. And I share the financials, not everything, but mostly, you know, the net income, at least, and the gross income and how many clients we have and that kind of thing. I think that people, you know, this is about retaining good talent and you want to make sure that your team understands the direction of the firm and where they can fit in. So we are really transparent about what our goals are for the future.
I know that when I have talked to members of your team, they have felt very empowered by having that knowledge. So I love what you're doing there. Have you noticed any pitfalls from that? Has that ever bit you when it's like, I'm only making this much and the company is making this much? Nothing has ever bit you in the butt.
No, and I've heard horror stories about that, but fortunately, I think, you know, we work with accountants and accountants understand net income doesn't truly mean net income when you have taxes and draws on top of that. So I think it's the way you present it to people so that they understand that, you know, you're sharing, well, we're sharing the wealth as much as we can, you know, with our team.
What made you make that decision to really share everything? There had to be a moment where you went, I'm going to be 100% transparent. What inside of you clicked where you were like, this is the right move?
That's a great question. And I wish I could remember who it was, but it was definitely somebody in Roundtable. And I'm sure it was somebody that I admire very much. And they said, oh, no, we put it all out on the table. And I thought, well, that's great. You know, why have I been hiding this, you know, information? Or, you know, sometimes if the numbers aren't what you want them to be, it's a little embarrassing or whatever. But whoever it was that said it, I took it and ran with it, and I'm not going to look back.
So we do have a question in the chat that I just glanced at and caught my eye, and I want to call it out. It says, sharing your net income with employees. So clarifying, yeah, you do share your net income with your employees. Now, by
A
sharing, that
variation,
doesn't mean
a variation.
sharing. That means telling them what the numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a variation of net income. Like I said, they're all accountants and they understand how things work, but I very clearly put net income less draw and taxes so that, they don't see exactly. But yeah, they should know that we are doing well, and that our plans for growth are netting some net income that we're not planning to lose money. So they feel secure in the team that they've decided to join.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about the state of the business. I'm intrigued. What is this much like a State of the Union where you're talking it all out? Here's the growth plans. Here's the position plans. All of it.
Yep. Yeah, we do. I'm trying to picture the agenda in my head because we're doing it next month, but it's where we were last year, what our goals were for this year, what goals we've achieved, what goals we still need to achieve. And then, planning out for the next year and then sharing those financial numbers and an org chart of the future. That I think is kind of cool because people can see like where they can grow within the company.
So an aspirational org chart is what you're really talking about. And how deep in the weeds do you get with aspiration? Do you get like 10 times bigger, 1 time bigger?
Every year it's grown.
Okay. So just increasing and adding positions in that aspirational org chart as you see fit. Have there been any surprises that have come out of this State of the Union scenario?
Yes. Well, we didn't have a training supervisor ever, but we have an employee that is so amazing. He's such a good trainer and he's such a good procedure writer and he loves doing it. So we created a position for that. So that wasn't even in the plan to have that position, but it's definitely an amazing, he's great in that role. So.
And that is about collaborative work culture. You recognized a talent that you didn't interview him for, you didn't hire him for, and when you made that decision, you worked it into those budget numbers and the new State of the Union company. Now, having a trainer internal is unique. I think in Roundtable we have about 200, 250 folks in there. I don't know anybody other than one that has an internal trainer.
Everybody has an internal trainer. It's probably just you. So, taking that off of your plate and making sure that it's somebody that wants to dig into the weeds and has the capacity to do that kind of training. And he also is available to train clients when they need specific, training on QuickBooks or something.
I love that. Now, I'm going to call out a question again from the Q&A. Just to clarify this for folks, do you have W-2 employees, contractors, or a mix?
Only W-2.
Only W-2.
Yeah, all U.S. Mm-hmm.
And do you have benefits for everybody as well? So you're creating a culture of the company is going to really look after them as employees and all the things that go along with being an employee.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everybody here has faced the horrors of trying to hire people the last few years. And, when you have good talent, you want to retain them. So adding things like 401k and health insurance, good PTO, flex time, bonuses, that kind of thing. So we really try to build up our whole offering to our team.
That is fantastic. So let's talk about how you disseminate information outside of that annual State of the Union of the company. Do you use any kind of programs to disseminate information, or are these one-on-one conversations? Is it a once a week meeting? Talk to us about how you communicate and collaborate inside the culture of your company, Angela.
Well, I want to take 1 minute just to talk about culture, because I think that is so important. And there's so many people that I have met over the years that I admire so much, have really laser focused on their culture and being able to communicate. I don't know if Tanya is in here right now, but Tanya Schulte's
She is.
tagline, "Run with the big dogs," was like the biggest inspiration for me. Like everybody knows what that means. So being able to identify your culture externally and internally at the same time, it's been challenging, but we're trying to focus on that. But once you have your culture down and people know, everybody's is different, and that's great. Ours is customer service is number one. So, everybody knows like that's our culture. We respond very quickly to client questions. This is the tone. We're not being, what's the word?
Aggressive, short.
We're like your accounting department in your organization. So we treat everybody that way. And once that culture is really identified and everybody buys into it, that helps a lot with external communication. So we only use email. We work with lawyers only, so email is our preferred external communication. But everybody knows like kind of that tone that you use with email correspondence, which I must say is great if you have new people and you're kind of wanting to see those correspondence. Financial sense, you can see every email by client that's been exchanged back and forth. That's been really, really nice because you can just kind of look at it whenever you want and see that communication. So that's external. Go ahead.
Now, no, keep going. You're on a roll. That's the external. I think you were maybe going to go into internal communication too.
Yeah. So internal, I know a lot of people like Slack. I don't love Slack, but we use Google Workspace, so we have a chat already. So we use chat. We have several different channels. One is just general, like if somebody has a question, they can put a question in the general because we are virtual. So it's kind of like knocking on a door and asking a question quickly, and then anybody can respond. We don't want there to be a bottleneck, like only our accounting manager has to respond to everything, right? So it's open. Anybody that is working on something, they can say, hey, can you join me? We use Zoom for meetings. We meet as a whole team every Tuesday morning. But outside of those regularly scheduled meetings, it's, hey, can somebody come to my room and work through this with me? So it's very open. We really have a team culture. That's so important to us that we'll all jump in and help if somebody needs something.
Now, as you have grown, have you noticed culture shifts? And I'm gonna point to something specific that I know a lot of people suffer from. As your responsibilities grow and you become more CEO rather than accountant, are you still the one answering the questions? Are you still the one that feels the need to talk to each and every client? Do you or do you let your team own that?
Richard, you've known me for a long time, and I used to be the one that kept everything, but I don't anymore. I mean, if somebody needs me, I will chime in. I will say those general chats that we have, it was really hard for me not to jump in all the time and answer questions because it's on my phone. I can see it at any time, but I try to sit back and just see how other people respond. And it really, I think, makes a more collaborative team environment that everybody, they're not just waiting for one person to answer questions. Anybody can chime in.
So that's that. I already knew that. And that's why I asked that question, because I know how difficult it was. And I know there's a lot of people that are watching this that are probably in the same zone. They're on the verge of that breakthrough client that's going to take them to the next level, but they're starting to lose that grip. They don't have that handle on everything. And what you're saying is, it's okay. You've empowered your team to be that person.
That's why I think team culture is so important, because then people know what your tone is. Inviting people to Zoom meetings with your clients, and they can see how you're interacting with that client. I think, handing off that client is super important, not just sending an email saying, hey, your new accountant is Joe or whatever, like introducing them, making sure that they know this person's going to take care of you. In fact, the first time I did it, where I was like, I'm out, I'm not doing your stuff anymore. I introduced her to her new accountant. We were all on Zoom together, and she says, Oh my gosh, she's way more responsive than you are, Angela. I thought, oh, because I was just getting too busy. So yes, empowering. These are your clients, that you can, if they have a baby, send them a baby gift. Like, these are your clients. So
how did that make you feel when your client that you had been holding on to said they're way more responsive? How was that?
amazing.
Was that a kick in the
Amazing.
butt? No, it was amazing.
Amazing, because I just knew that, this team member was going to take such good care of them, and I didn't have to work. A lot of people talk about real estate in your head, and when you're thinking about that client, it's just in your head. That's real estate of your brain. And so to be able to just not worry about what's going on in the day-to-day stuff with them anymore is fantastic. I love it. I love it. It frees me up to do things like this, things that I enjoy doing.
I call it living in your head rent free.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I believe if they're going to be up here, they need to pay for it.
Right.
And, that's just the way it is with a client relationship. But all right, so we've talked a little bit about the tools that you use. You use Financial Sense.
Mhm.
For team chats, you're using the Google products, whether it's Hangout, Meet, Chat. I don't even know what they are anymore.
Just chat. Mm.
Okay, and then for team meetings, you're also doing Zoom. Any other collaborative tools that you're using internally?
Not that I know of. I mean, we try to keep our software to, like, I've told Sharon before, like, Financial Sense should be the first thing you open every morning, right? And you can plan your day, your week, your month, your year through that software. So we try to not have so many things that you have to open when you get to work.
I love that. Keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple. Use a master app, if you will, or a primary app, if you will, to use better terminology. It just feels better. And you can really see trends and where everybody is and all the things from the tools that you're using. You don't have to do as much analysis as a lot of people do, where they don't have it, or it's all in their head, and they're training kind of by osmosis, which happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's really dig into culture, and I know that you are a firm believer in defining the culture and sticking to it. And I love that concept, but I also believe that culture is a living, breathing thing that evolves and changes over time. So how do you reconcile the two statements of stick to it, but it's going to evolve?
Well, that's a great question. I think I have said to you before, stick to it. And I might be regretting that a little bit, because yeah, you're right. Things do change. And, something came up a few months ago. I don't even remember what it was. It was new software we were rolling out or something. And we just realized, like, this is not just, hey, we're starting to implement this now. It's really getting a team feel for it and their opinions on it, which is so valuable, because they're the ones that are going to be using the products. And why would we push something down that doesn't work or is too much work?
Yeah.
So I mean, culture, I guess it's more like, culture to me is like, what is the mood of the business? Are you like, you have to be at work at 8:00 every single day, or like, that's not us. It's defining the mood. Is it team oriented? Can I go to anybody with questions? That kind of thing, I guess.
So shifting gears just slightly, when we talk about culture, part of it is really acclimating new team members to the team and to how things work. So I have a household of cats. We have 3 cats. And whenever we bring a new kitten in, the others kind of train them and they take it on. They're like, they get up on the counter and smack them down when they get on the eating surfaces, so to speak. And so we don't really have to worry about training them in our house, except for a few major things where it's like, nope, can't do that. And so somebody just put a gif of cats in the chat, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
hysterical
that's
to me. But the reason that I bring that up is, do you let before you had your in-house trainer, Michael, do you have did you have a way that team culture and training for apps, and how long is that process normally? Because it can take weeks sometimes to learn apps. Some people throw people right in day one. Some people have a very lengthy process. Watch this video, have this meeting, meet with your manager. I'm assuming that you're a little bit more of a hybrid scenario where the team is involved, your accounting manager is pushing out expectations. Tell us a little bit about that orientation process as new members are coming in.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Zoom, and I think that's the whole point of having the trainer, that they're available to, be on Zoom all day. And, you can work independently, but it's like you're in the same room. And that way, because when you're new, you don't know where the bathroom is. Not that you need to know for virtual, but
virtual, they probably know if they're virtual.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like just little things that are not transferable from your previous job. Like where do we store this, or where do we keep this? Where do I find that? So, yeah, I think that's nice having just the open door policy to.
So what you're saying is, in a virtual world, the open door policy is really like 2, maybe 3 people getting on Zoom and quietly working together, like in an office where you can pop your head over the cubicle and go, hey, where do we store this information?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
I got you. I love that. And how long is it? And this is kind of a trick question. I'll preface it. How long is it before somebody is fully trained?
Well, it depends on their knowledge. We recently had the luxury of adding a team member who had law firm accounting experience. So her training time of that was very short because she already knew how to do all of that. So I think it's based on experience, really. But, we want to give people the time to understand the software and learn the software if they're not familiar.
I think the reason I was thinking it was a trick question is because I think people are constantly in training. That's what we're doing here today.
I hope so. I hope everybody's learning something new every single day. Yeah.
I love that. And the audience loves it too. I just saw a bunch of little hearts and cool things going on. So how do you decide in your company culture somebody is ready? Or actually, I'm one question ahead. Let me back up. Do you identify with each employee their next step or their next move in the company? Meaning, this person is probably going to be an accounting manager, or does it happen organically, like the training manager?
Well, I think that is a huge part of any manager's job, right? Whoever you're managing, that you are recognizing right away. I mean, we had a person that the first week they showed up only 2 days. So that's a problem. We do now use monitoring software for the first, they know it for the first, I think 90 days that, because we do supply the equipment. So monitoring software just to make sure that that they're actually working. And then you feel them out. And after 3 months, they get an evaluation. And if they're doing great, oh my gosh, they're so autonomous now and they're on their own, they can get a pay bump or something like that. Or if it's not working out, then we try to put, something in place to help them improve.
Angela, this has been incredibly informative. I'm going to switch over to some questions because there's some really great questions in here. The first one that I'm going to pull is from Chantel, and I can't see your last name. I'm sorry about that. But Angela, how do you be transparent without scaring anybody?
Scaring them how? Like for financial numbers or?
I'm not sure. Yeah, because I guess it could be scary if there's not a huge net profit. They're like, is my job in jeopardy? That kind of thing. Or you're just, I think you're more transparent in terms of this is what the numbers mean. You're kind of explaining it like you would almost a client sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we can't get our numbers and our budgets in order, I think we're talking to only accountants, but maybe not. This is what we do for our clients. So hopefully we can do it for ourselves. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone's scared. I would hope that they're not. We're being honest about things. If our net income projection, I'll tell you next year, it's low. It's not increasing. But our gross income is, but that's exciting because we're investing more in the company. So, I think just being
I love hearing the phrase "we're investing in the company." That's fantastic. So Marina is asking, how often do you have team meetings? There's more. Do you have a virtual water cooler? Do you organize virtual Christmas parties? All the things.
Yes, all of the above. Yes, we have weekly team meetings with everybody. And then I believe our accounting manager has individual meetings with, her direct reports. We have the executive meetings twice a week for like an hour. Sometimes they go over, depending on what's going on. We do lunch and learns. So we try to do them once a quarter where we send everybody an Uber code and they get their Uber Eats so they can eat while we have our little training session about, 1099s or something, that we're rolling out to everybody.
I love that. So you host virtual meetings across the country and you send everyone on your team a gift certificate for lunch. So it's not even something they have to turn in as an expense. You're taking an extra step and saying lunch is on us, just like if you're in a real office.
Yes.
And I love that. That is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, next question is from Josh. How do you build a collaborative environment in a large organization, say 15 employees or more? And you're kind of there. You got 9, right?
No, we're hiring for the number 14. So yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's right up your alley.
So hi, Josh. It's funny how over the years the Zoom, it's like the Brady Bunch, how you have all the pictures and how it's grown, and there's so many more of us on the screen. But seeing people's faces, I think, is so important. And if somebody's having a bad day, you can see their face and maybe give them a little, what's going on, like getting to know each other. We've tried to do different things, like Zoom has a whiteboard and we play different games on that and stuff, but I don't know. People just want to get their work done and get out. But it's just getting to know each other and having individual meetings with people just on the fly, and then you get to know people.
And I think we actually kind of addressed it without saying the words, this is how you do it in a big firm. It's about recognizing that culture is evolving to include new things on a constant basis. You're always adding to the mix, meaning whether it's open office hours where people can join, or new benefits. I know that you just started doing the health thing 6-7 months ago, somewhere in there, and so everything about your culture is evolving. And so, are you the head of that? Is that all here, or are you relying on your team to help with that?
Well, that's why we meet twice a week to the management team, because we want to talk about what we want to offer. But yeah, we're always growing. If you're not like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and like keep going further and further, then I don't know. I guess it's like a shark, you die or whatever. But we're trying to like anticipate the growth, and we're trying to do a controlled growth that we're not going to implode. So we're
not taking on everybody, taking on only that fit your world and your minimums and all of those things.
Yeah, we've gotten to the point we're lucky enough to be able, no jerks allowed. So if I meet with a potential client and they're nasty, then they don't come on board. So I
I cannot tell you how many times you have said that to me, and it is burned into my brain. And I am the same way. If somebody and it's because of you, because early on when I started my business 9 years ago, I was like, I'll take pretty much any. And now I'm like, no, they have to be in that no jerk category. And that makes it a fun environment to work in.
Yeah.
So Kelly asks a really interesting question, and I think I knew the answer, but I'm not 100% certain. So all of your chats are in Google. How do you keep confidential information safe?
So we do have different channels in our Google chat. So if I want to speak to just one person individually, we just chat, like Slack. We just chat amongst ourselves. So you can see who has access to that. Yeah, I mean,
But pretty much confidential information in your firm, everybody has access to it. So you kind of everybody's under kind of the same auspices of it's confidential information and we don't share financial information outside the company. So
financial. Yeah, we don't share financial information with anybody really. Like nobody has QuickBooks access to our QuickBooks or our reports.
Bookkeeper A, their book of business, can somebody else see into that, or do you silo?
Oh yes, please. Yes, everybody's cross-trained. You know, if somebody has a death in the family or they're out sick, everybody should be able to jump in, which is why we niche. You know, one of the reasons, because, you know, our
Nobody has to
procedures
have any specialized anything that's outside the niche. Of course.
Yeah. So then you can transfer. Yes, anybody can see anything. I mean, I think we have financial sense that if you're not on the project, you can't see it. But, you know, we would just add that person. Yeah, I do want to say, I don't know how much time we have left, but financial sense, the whole workflow and having the procedures. So we have our procedures in Google Docs, but they're in the resource section, which we love in financial sense. And then whenever you change something, the link doesn't change. So anybody can see any of those procedures, but that's been really helpful to keep everything standardized and organized.
Perfect. And Marina's asking another question. Is so it says, is your entire team virtual? I know that they are, but where are your team members located? And I think the question behind this question is, are you in multiple time zones?
Yes.
And how do you adjust to that?
Yes, we are. So I'm East Coast. The furthest west is Colorado, which is mountain time, so 2 hours behind us. So our team meetings on Tuesdays start at 10, so that you know, they don't have to start before 8 o'clock. We don't have any Pacific Coasters. We probably have to adjust our team meeting time, but yeah, it's really not an issue at all, because we don't say you have to be at work at 8 o'clock, as long as you're working, generally speaking, over the same. There's
an overlap, and if they work it, they work it. So I think last question, we'll get dinged by Tosine if it is not. But from Nancy McClellan, the dancing accountant, what percentage of your time is managerial versus day-to-day?
So mine is different now because I'm not managing anybody. But my standard thing from my corporate world is, if you're managing people, in my opinion, only 20% of your time should be spent on client work and 80% on your team. So it depends on the size of your team too. If you only have one person, then probably not 80%. But generally speaking, that's kind of the rule. And the other rule is, you hit 7 people, that's enough, right? Don't manage more than 7 people.
So you get a new manager if you hit. So you have 2 managers right now. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So we're putting supervisors in place. Yeah, because it's just too much.
All right. I'm getting told that our session is ending, and the next session with Sharam is in 4 minutes. So everybody, refill your coffees, go to the restroom, and enjoy what Sharam has to say on that next session. Angela and I thank you all for joining us. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you. See you, Richard.